Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is another episode of Catching the Curb with Bob Camardo and friends. DJ Yoakley here, and it's all brought to you thanks to our friends at the Curbstone Coaches. As always, such a great organization helping not only communities, coaches, and getting the words out. And again, you don't have to be a coach to be involved. With all that being said, let's turn it over. We bring in the same guy we do every month at this point. First Tuesday of every month. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Camardo. Oh, we got an audience, studio audience.
I brought two bodyguards with me today. I got my friend Frank Frateroli and of course Tom Miller, who's going to talk to you guys here in a few minutes. But good to be back. Thank you for having us.
Oh, let's start with some of the darkness, no pun intended. Yesterday at YSU, they're supposed to kick things off, and a generator blows. Talk to me. You were there. Talk to me about the situation and kind of what the plan was, what it was like in the brand new, right, and renovated Beagley. Yeah. So
I wait all year for basketball season, and we had Ethan Faulkner as our luncheon guest yesterday. So everyone was all amped up for the basketball season to start. So the women were playing North Dakota at 5:30 and the men at like 7:35 against Westminster. And 5 o'clock, I'm sitting there watching the warm-ups, and I heard a pop, and everything went completely dark. So, everyone's trying to figure out what the heck happened, and everyone's milling around. And after the lights didn't come back on for 10, 15 minutes, you kind of figured it was something pretty bad. So I guess a generator blew, and they decided finally at about 7 o'clock that they weren't going to be able to play any games. So poor North Dakota women's team had flown in just to play YSU. So they flew in for no reason. They had some parents there and stuff, so they came in for nothing. Now, Westminster, they were going to try and reschedule that game, I believe, because they're so close. But the North Dakota women's game is canceled.
Got to look out for them Titans. I'm telling you right now, Bobby. You got to look out for them Titans.
I don't know.
They're a sneaky bunch.
I think YSU only beat them by 70 last year. I think the line will be 60.5 this year, maybe.
I'll take the Titans. Okay. I'll take the Titans on the money line.
A money line. I'll book that.
So we have to wait a little bit longer for Melissa's debut, official debut.
And Ethan's.
Of course.
Now the men are supposed to play at Chicago State Saturday night. The women have a home game Friday against Lake Erie College. So hopefully everything's fixed by then.
So the renovated Beagley, how's it look?
It looks great. I mean, the seats are bigger, which helps a fat butt like me. And there's They did some real nice things in there. There's a new scoreboard. It looks like a basketball arena now. Unfortunately, when it's dark, you can't see anything. So that was the problem yesterday. But
too much juice to that scoreboard.
I'll tell you, only in Youngstown.
We have some great guests that we've had over the last few Mondays. Last time we saw you was a month ago. Yes. Talk to me about those guests. How they went and how they were received.
Since the last time I was here, I think we had Riley Jarrett, the new YSU volleyball coach, and she was outstanding. Then Bob Hannon came to talk about YSU football, so there were a lot of complaints, obviously, in that realm. But then we had Melissa Jackson, the new women's basketball coach. She was outstanding. She's a go-getter. She's Frank will tell you she's got her own style, and if you want to be on board, fine. If not, hit the road. But no, she's going to do fine. She's going to do good. They might struggle a little bit this year. They're really young, a lot of new kids, but she'll do a good job. Last Monday, we had a track coach from over in Western PA, J.R. McFarland. He was really, really good. He's been in a couple Hall of Fames over there, and we enjoyed listening to him. And then yesterday we had Ethan Faulkner. We had a big crowd for him yesterday, and there's a lot of excitement around, especially the men's program, because of what Jared Calhoun had done. And Ethan was out visiting Calhoun last week, going over some stuff, and Jared wishes everybody well back here.
What's incredible is what we've seen both basketball programs essentially become. Because I remember the days where I worked for another network, and we're watching it on TV. I mean, we're airing on TV, and you had to look for fans in the stands.
Yes.
And now it's hard to find a seat. And talk to me about. I mean, you've been there the entire way. Frank's been here obviously the entire way. What is the culture like? What is the feeling of Youngstown State basketball as a whole going into 2024?
I think, I've been going to games since I started college in 1975, so that was several moons ago. And I told Calhoun, I've told Faulkner, I've seen a lot of bad basketball in my life. I mean, just tons of it. And but they're every night because I'm a basketball guy and I enjoy it. But I think going into this season, once people get their heads wrapped around the transfer portal and the NIL and all that stuff, what Calhoun did here is he brought it to everybody's attention that it's the place to be. And I know it's a shame what happened last night because they had sold out the entire lower bowl and they were expecting a really good crowd last night because Westminster brings a lot of people too.
Sure.
And it was a shame that got postponed like that. But there's a lot of excitement, Jen. And believe me when I tell you, Ethan knows it. This is his first head coaching job. He knows that he needs to keep the ball rolling, and he's done a real good job in the transfer portal, just like Calhoun did. So I think they're going to have a pretty good team. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out because when you have that many new guys, you never know how the chemistry is going to be, but I think that they're going to be pretty good. The women, like I said, are a little young, but Jackson will get them on the right track, if not now, soon down the road.
I think it's going to be an exciting just endeavor in general to see how both men's and women's programs can build on what they've had. And obviously with Melissa at the helm, she brings that leadership factor.
She does.
That, even if you have a young team, she can navigate you through the choppy waters.
She can. She knows what she's doing, and she'll be patient. And it's interesting. I've had conversations with her too, and she realizes that other than Green Bay, the support for women's basketball at YSU is second to none in the Horizon League. So that excites her, and I tell you right now, YSU is probably more of a basketball school than a football school. If you'd have told me that 20 years ago, I told you were nuts.
Crazy. Absolutely, absolutely nuts. I mean, YSU is really arrow up on all frequencies, so that's good to see. All right, let's talk about who's to come for the Curbstone coaches over the next month before we see you again.
Okay, next Monday we've got Dan Heiner, who is the new sports editor for the Vindicator/Tribune, so we're looking forward to hearing from him. The 18th of November, we have our elections, which will supersede any election today. So we'll keep. If anyone's interested in running, especially if they want to be president, let us know. I'll be happy to step aside.
As long as these presidents not going to get shot at, right?
I don't think so, but you never
Depends.
know.
It is Youngstown.
You get a bad piece of meatloaf yesterday, you never know what's going to happen. But then that day on the 18th, we have YSU Sports Information Director Trevor Parks.
Awesome.
Will be there, and Trevor's
Love
a good
Trevor.
guy. And then on November 25th, the Monday before Thanksgiving, we couldn't find anybody. So we, the proverbial dig the shovel in the bottom of the
Boy, were you digging.
We were digging. So we've got some guy coming named DJ Yoakley.
Sellout crowd.
Will be there that day. So I'm sure that everybody will be calling off work to be at that luncheon.
Oh, boy, I'm sure.
We're going to have filet and everything else.
Oh, are we? Put it on the tab,
Yeah,
right?
why not? Why not? And then the first three Mondays in December. December 2nd, we've got local umpire John Mang, who's legendary in that realm. December 9th is going to be interesting. Almost every YSU coach and person that comes and talks to us mentions not only the transfer portal, but NIL. So we have the guy that's running the NIL at Youngstown State, Ty Petrie.
Wow.
That's going to come and talk to us. So that'll be interesting. And then December 16th, we'll have Dr. Ray Duffett, who's an orthopedic surgeon, who's been a YSU team doctor for a long time, and he'll come talk to us, and that'll be our last one before the holidays. Now, we've got January 6th will be our our fall high school champions. We've already got the Warren JFK golf team, and then hopefully the couple football teams. I was going to ask you, who do you think has a shot to win state football championships?
Well, before I tell you that, I'm going to flip it back to you. Who do you like? I mean, I know that you love watching high school football. You love listening and reading the stories. I mean, do you have any particulars that you like watching, especially this year?
I know Ursuline's really good.
They are.
And a friend of mine is the athletic director at Warren JFK, Al Gregas. So
Love Al.
Yeah, Big Al. I could tell you stories until next week about Al, but I used to work with him at Trumbull County Child Support. But JFK always has a shot because of the division they're in. And some people are saying that South Range again, may have an opportunity. So I hope so. I mean, it's good for the area when there's a lot of interest in teams possibly winning state championships.
You must be watching FMJ a lot because they asked me the three teams that I thought were going to go. Those are the three teams that I said.
Well, Dana's my boy. You know that.
Of course.
So I do watch 21. But yeah, those are probably the best shots, I would say.
I mean, you look at what those three have been able to do. The experience, I think, comes into factor.
Yeah, no doubt.
And South Range has played a lot of games over the last few years, including that state championship.
Mm-hmm.
Ursuline, as long as they got Dan Reardon, Johnny DeSantis, they always have a chance.
Absolutely.
Two brilliant minds. And then JFK is JFK. Like you said, you can never count them out no matter where they are. They play up the entire year.
They do.
Just to get to the playoffs. And I was excited to see Mooney back, and even with a losing record, I still think they gave a nice punch last week.
Was that a pun intended punch when you talk about
Nope,
Mooney?
nope,
Oh, okay.
not at all. From that standpoint, it was just good to see them, back in the fold, and hopefully they can get back to where we've seen. When I graduated high school, it was Mooney and Ursuline, and they just ruled the roost. But
right now, Ursuline's got a big heads up on them, but you're right. Mooney needs to get back into the
right. And then you look at some of these other schools. I mean, it was good to see my Bulldogs from East Palestine get back into the playoffs for the 5th time in school history, even though they had a 13-0 lead on JFK.
I saw that.
And then, I think they just the adrenaline wore off a little bit, and JFK kind of rose to the challenge.
And give JFK credit for being patient when that happened and coming back.
I mean, there was like a 22-minute to 4-minute time of possession in favor of Palestine. So it's hard to do stuff in 4 minutes.
It is.
But JFK figured it out. So, brother, thank you so much for stopping by again. I know we're going to talk to Tom again, which is
talk to Tom. I do
awesome.
want to mention one more thing. I
it.
just got the email yesterday that on January 13th, Jim Rosenhaus, Cleveland Guardians broadcaster, will be coming to talk to us again. And the Guardians had a heck of a year, obviously.
Goodness.
So
without their ace, by the way.
Yes, without their ace. So and we'll talk some more going forward about. There's another event coming up in January where Rosenhaus and Matt Underwood, the TV broadcaster, are coming in to have a little banquet. So we'll talk about that next month as it gets closer because Frank will put a gun to my head if I don't.
I was going to say, this got Frank's scent all over it.
It does.
Bob Camardo, thank you so much. We'll be back with Tom Miller right after this.